Finally, a projector with external Kushner and on my custom mega screen. Stay to see these tips intro and we begin. Digital greetings to everyone. I am the electronic engineer Javier Guerrero, and today I will try to solve some doubts that have arisen in my videos regarding projectors, and also finally build my mega projection screen where you can really enjoy a projector in a big way. A few years ago it was very difficult to have a projector at home because they were very expensive and difficult to maintain. That in recent years things have changed. Projectors have exploded on the internet. There are dozens of brands and hundreds of new models, and they are becoming more and more popular on this channel. I have already reviewed some models and thousands of people have enjoyed their reviews because I have even shown them how they work and how they are built inside. But if not, have you seen, I suggest you watch them and subscribe because they are super detailed. But I have also received a series of comments and doubts from which I select the most important to try to answer them in this video. Also stay until the end because I carried out a couple of projects to extend the life of a projector and to build my dream projection screen, so let's go to the video. No, a projector is not better than a smart IBI. They are very different devices. It is unfair and it is not even worth buying them. A smart IBI has the great advantage of shooting its light directly into your eyes. That is, you take advantage of all that light, while a projector points at your light to a surface, and what reaches your eyes is only a percentage of the reflected light because the rest of the reflection is lost in the environment. But a projector allows you to create a screen of 200 or 300 inches and take it with you wherever you want. Something you could never do with a smart IBI. Both technologies have advantages and disadvantages. Of course, a smart IBI has a better resolution because its screen is smaller and the pixels are closer to each other. But there are also 4K laser projectors whose resolution and brightness is fantastic, but they are more expensive. But little by little they are to go down, and who knows if one day they become a better option than a smart IBI. In most projectors that I have seen, sound is not prioritized. More work is done on the quality of the images, which is the reason for a projector, and other connectivity functions. The sound in a mid-range projector fulfills its function of being heard well enough in a room and nothing else. Do not ask for deep basses or great sound quality from these projectors, but of course there is, although that great quality will cost you. Some top-of-the-range projectors such as Meodine are even certified in sound by the prestigious Harman Kardon company. Those who know sound will know what I mean. In this type of projector, sound is a pleasure, and that quality is only integrated in projectors with better features, and obviously more expensive. This is one of the most recurring complaints, and if most projectors integrate uncertified Android precisely to sell you the cheapest because certification costs them, it is not free for a brand to integrate Android by certificate. Bring Android by default, and it is an advantage in a projector because there are hundreds of models that do not come with an operating system and only work via HDMI cable or USB. At least with Android you can install applications and most of them will work fine, although some may fail because they require certification. Like Netflix or HBO or Max, I recommend you not to worry about that, although it is better that you have uncertified Android instead of nothing. I prefer 1,000 times to connect it to a Tibia stick because it is even more fluid and it left the projector processor. Its the main job is to project the images and not process them. That's what the Tibia stick takes care of. The same thing they ask me with the Hobby TV boxes, but my projector's Android 9, Android 8, Android 6, and I can't update it, and it's likely that you will never be able to do it. My brother, these are mass consumer electronics devices from $100 to $200, and for brands an update does not justify it. It is not how most imagine what Google thinks. It has already launched the new Android 12 because this brand not only downloads it and uploads it to its page to update my projector. I omitted box no. It's not that easy, is it, or is it not an update? The brands generally update the security patches, but most of them are not going to update a complete operating system in less than a device that they consider cheap for less than $200, because that implies $1 million investment, a team of software engineers and months of development to work on the new version. SDK files modify especially for a specific model of so many models they have that you would like to be updated. Once again I repeat that I personally don't care about upgrades on a projector because they all have HDMI input and I can make it work with any video source, tie box, Tibia stick, computers, cell phones, etc., and that's a big plus. Most projectors do not have spare parts, so take care of it. It is very difficult to find some critical spare part for a mid-range projector such as the screen lenses, the CD or the power LEDs that are exactly the same in the event of a failure. The technician has to use his creativity to adapt a component, such as changing a failed fan that if you can put another, but do it physically and paying attention to the operating voltage. But the rest of the components is very difficult, almost impossible to find them separately. That is why you have to take care of a projector, and the best way to take care of it is to keep it well ventilated and prevent it from working very hot, and that is why stay until the end of the video so you can see how I modified my projector to extend its useful life. Speaking of useful life, Javi, it is necessary to open it to clean it. No, it is not necessary. These projectors follow the design of the sealed optics system, as I have already commented in my videos, and there is nothing criticized there that is exposed. I do it to explain its operation, but before a very imperative need in that you have to open it to clean the lens because it has an ugly stain, or change a fan that does not move. I encourage you to do it without fear of success no more. Although it is an advantage to being an electronic engineer, there is nothing that I do in this channel that you cannot do with the respective care. Just make sure to completely unplug the projector, take off your shoes, and do it barefoot to eliminate any residual static electricity from your body. It could damage the card. Many have asked me this: Javi, can I change the HD to a more powerful and brighter LED? Theoretically it is possible, but that brings with it two problems that are difficult to solve. The first is to get the one with the most power that you want to put, and that must have the same shape and size of letter that you want to replace. That in itself is already a challenge. And the second and most complicated is that if you want to put a more powerful LED, more current will be consumed in amps, which is what this type of LED consumes, and where will you get that shock current from the same projector? In the best of cases, the source, it will not be able to give more current and the LED will not reach its maximum brightness, therefore the change is in vain, and in the worst case the source can give more current but it will overheat and you will end up burning the conclusion. Do not do that madness. If you want more than a month of brightness, you change a more powerful projector and save yourself a whole headache. Javi, but I only have 1 gig of RAM. I can't change the RAM memory just because I know they're not specialists. I forgive them because it's in electronics. It's blasphemy. A projector is not like a PC with slots to remove or put more RAM memory. RAM memory in a projector is a soldered chip, and it is not a question of taking out 1 of a gigabyte and putting 1 of 4. Rather, it is not as easy as taking it out and putting it in, since that brings with it 2 very complex technical problems. The first is to safely remove the chip, for which you need a constant temperature hot air gun, and the most difficult is to solder the new RAM, for which a technique called rebaling is required to get each pin on the RAM to stick properly on your track, precise. This is complex but possible. And the second almost insurmountable problem is that the processor knows what RAM is connected to its card, and there is a special feature of processors and memories called addressing. The processor is configured to address that amount of RAM, and if you want to change the RAM, you have to go into the firmware of the processor, and changing that address is virtually impossible. Conclusion: forget it. Key question: there is not a critical number of hours that limit you to use your projector. What sense would it make to sacrifice to buy a projector and then be afraid of measuring how many hours you can use it without it breaking down quickly? As I mentioned before, to improve the life of an electronic device, you must control 2 parameters: the operating temperature and the quality of energy to which it is connected, but I will explain this second point in a future video about smart IBIS. You can use your projector for the hours that you want, but keep in mind that the projectors generate a lot of heat, and the ideal is to get rid of it as much as possible. If you live in a geographical area with cool and low temperature characteristics, it may not be necessary, but I live in the rich land of the northern sun of Peru. In this oven, where in summer we reach 40 degrees Celsius, I need to devise a way so that my devices do not work so hot, and that is why I am going to modify this Juan Botero Say Max to extend its useful life. I am going to install an external cure on T2R Max to work more ventilated, but these small coolers will not work for me since they are as small as a coin. You need a cooler like this one that is 4 times larger and moves much more air. You can find small coolers easily in any electronics store. But I don't think this bigger one, because this cooler must meet 3 very important requirements. First, it must be at least 6 centimeters on the side so that it has a good airflow. Second, it must be 5 volts so that it can use the same voltage as the projector. And third, you must have a USB connection to be able to use a free USB port from the projector. The problem is that you can only get a cooler like this on AliExpress for about $10 a pair. So in the description of the video I will leave you the link where I bought this cooler in case you want to buy it. Although there are various sizes, choose the one that fits your projector's air vent. First, you have to locate the area where the projector sucks the air, and in most of them it is from the back. You will also need a silicone gun and 4 matchsticks in the fan. Verify from which side the air comes out, and according to a brand or a little arrow that is always printed. I will pass the sticks through the 4 holes, and with a little bit of silicone I will glue them one by one. If this is still loose, you can apply a little bit on the opposite sides and you'll see how firm and stable they are. But since these legs are very long, you have to cut them approximately 1 centimeter long, and before deciding their final position, orient the cooler cable in such a way that it makes it easier for you to connect it to the USB port of your projector without this cable being crossed. Now I will apply a drop of silicone on 2 legs diagonally, and I will glue it quickly before it dries, and finally I will glue the other 2 legs. Remember that silicone is harmless. You can clean it and not damage the plastic of your projector, and that is how my T2R was Max with his external cooler found it easy, right? Now we are going to the fire test, and that is why I am going to remove the front grill to measure and check the temperature of this projector. I am going to leave it running for about 2 hours projecting 4K videos so that it reaches its operating temperature, and observe that it starts with about 33 degrees Celsius. After 2 hours the temperature has stabilized at about 47 degrees, it rose 14 degrees, which is completely normal, and it is time to try this improvement. So if you paid attention to putting a 5-volt cooler, it should learn and work without problems, because that is the voltage of the USB data port. I'll give it a half hour of operation to verify what effect it causes. And that time has passed. I observed that in just half an hour the temperature has dropped to about 35 degrees, and that is very good. Even when you put your hand in, it feels like the air is no longer as hot as before. With a cooler connected to a projector, you don't even have to unplug it, because when you turn off your projector, automatically the cooler will also turn off because the USB port loses voltage. As you can see, it doesn't take up space, it doesn't require external power, it doesn't look so bad, and above all it works, and I hope that if you do it, it will help your device a lot. Simple project that you can carry out to keep your projector ventilated, but be careful. As an engineer I tell you that this does not guarantee anything either. Do not think that while you did this your projector will last you 20-30 years. No, but it does significantly reduce the possibility of temperature damage that is a recurring problem in electronic devices. Already in a video I commented that the quality of the images of a projector basically depends on 4 factors. The surface where I project is the amount of lumens of your projector, the undesirable external light that filters in, and how to adjust the brightness and color calibration, but the latter depends on the tastes of each user. Of these 4, one of the most important things that I can improve is the projection surface, and that is why I decided to build my large projector screen. I was dying to do another project again. And how do you see, this wall is the best surface I have at home to be able to use a projector, but it is limited by this column where there is a wall and this other column also with its respective wall. A simple measurement tells me that my useful area is 3.4 meters long by 2.4 meters high, and I want to make the best use of this area. If you continue in my videos you will know that until now I have been testing my projectors on this wall that is not white but melon colored and not objects like these plugs, and even if you look closely it has small damage that spoils the projection and that is not ideal. To give you an idea of the melon color of my wall, this is the difference with a white bond sheet. But with a shovel in the true contrast of my wall with another white surface like my ceiling. A really big difference. I know my wall where I test the projectors is not ideal, and since new projectors of better quality and with more lumens are arriving, these projectors do not deserve to be projected on a simple melon-colored wall because we cannot see their true potential. There are several ways to do it. The simplest and cheapest of a projection screen is to project on any light-colored wall as I have been doing, although if that white wall is much better. Another is to buy a special ecran for projector that can cost you from $70 to $300 depending on the size and type of material. And the most difficult is to make your own personalized screen, which is precisely what I am going to do, but be careful. I am not recommending doing it this way because materials, tools, time and even some expertise are needed to achieve it, and so you are encouraged to do it like this, then you are of mine. I want to make a personalized screen because I would already have a good future surface to test all the projectors that come, and also this screen will be reversible with a white side for high gloss images and a gray side for high contrast images. Come with me to the construction for that. I bought this 3mm thick MDF plate that cost me 60 sols because it already has one side in a gray finish, but as I said I want to make the most of my wall, that's why I will need 3 MDF sheets, and to give the structure I bought these pine slats that both cost me 20 sols. And of course need the great help of my construction supervisor, the great Rick. I will start with the slats, and I am going to dust off and prepare my cutting table that I built for myself in a previous video, and if you have not seen it I invite you to watch it after this video. Using the lateral guide I will cut the 2 slats into 6 1cm strips. These strips will help me to make a kind of structural framework where they can support the MDF sheets. Be careful. They say this structure to comply with the 16:9 or widescreen format, which is the most popular for videos, but this project will be fine as long as my supervisor stops stealing semi-materials. I also cut 4 corners to give strength to the structural frame and to make it look good it is square. Remember that most current screens must comply with the 16:9 format or aspect ratio because most of the current content is not filmed in that format. As you can see, I am already finishing the frame, and I have placed this strip here strategically because it will rest on the ends of the plates. And to prevent the plates from collapsing together and from sinking I will put slats as separators, which also improves the firmness of this frame. I finally have the frame finished, and as you can see, I even liked how it turned out. This is the upper part, and notice that here I have put this reinforcement to be able to hang the screen. Now a little bit of glue on the entire upper part of the slats, and I will start placing the first plate with the help of my friend Joel, and here it is very important to align the plates flush with the frame so as not to leave any exposed edges. And then we will proceed to nail the entire perimeter of the plate, but since the plates were 5 cm larger than the frame, I have to cut them a bit so that they fit perfectly in it. From a new plank, cut 2 pieces to complete the ends, glue and nail to the frame to complete one side. Then we turn the frame around, and we will also apply glue and some wooden spacers to maintain the same distance between the plates. Now we will put the other complete plate. We nail it, and I put some weight on it so that they stick well, and finally under the watchful eye of Rake I will put the last piece well glued and nailed to let it dry overnight. And so my screen is now more firm and manageable, like a large panel that measures 1.80 m high and 3.20 m long, which gives me 145 inches of projection, and that I will now take to my patio to give it the finishing touches. I will sand the sides a little to eliminate any protruding imperfections in the frame, and I will fill in the joint of the plates with more to hide this ugly line, which remains. Ignore my grandmother's hat that I found somewhere, but the sun was setting the nape of the neck on fire. Now I'm going to apply white paint to this side of the screen. I spent half a gallon of water-based white paint and gave it 8 coats of paint to hide the gray color and leave it totally white. With Joel we painted the edges black to give it a nice flat screen detail, and I put these powerful steel eye bolts on the top, and on the bottom I put these little wooden legs that I painted black and that will later serve as the base on the sides. Now I'll drill 3 holes in my living room with 3/8 dowels and put in 4-inch steel screws at an upward angle so the eye bolts won't come loose. On the side that doesn't paint well, I could leave it like that and use it as a gray screen, but I'll do something much better. A few months ago I bought a special reflective gray cloth for a 16:9 format 133-inch projector, and this will be the opportunity to install it for its true use. This fabric is the biggest one I got, and it cost me about $30 plus $20 for shipping, but beware, it is not just any gray fabric. This is a special projector fabric where one of its sides has no properties but the other is very reflective. How it is you see. But the best test is turning off the light a bit and see how this special fabric takes advantage of the light and reflects it quite well. And if you were interested in a fabric like this for your projector, in the description of the video I will leave you the link where I bought it. Although the fabric does not reach the entire screen, I prefer to put it on because it is made specifically for projectors. It also comes with some self-adhesive patches with Velcro to stick to the wall. I will put the screen on bedspreads so as not to dirty the white side, and thus I will be able to install the fabric with much more comfort. Ready. I already have the projector cloth installed on the screen, a little cleaning, and I already have my projection screen with a gray side to watch videos with high contrast like movies and the other white side to watch videos with high brightness like football matches. Remove the tape that I put to protect the screen when painting the frame so that a thinner edge can be seen, and although it seems to you that this screen is a very heavy monstrosity, it is not so heavy, and that is why the PC. As you can see, it only ended up weighing about 35 kilos, perfectly manageable by 2 people, even my mother can lift it. And now the acid test, hang it on the wall. And perfect friends, the 3 steel screws support these 35 kilos of screen very well. My custom screen turned out great, right? I designed these 2 legs to put these 2 wooden bases on each side because later I will put my 2 Transmar Model T speakers here, 7 of 30 watts each, that are to come, and that will turn my screen into an authentic and fantastic home theater. And as the icing on the cake of this beautiful project I will put this special detail. It took me a whole weekend and I spent about 250 sols without including the projection cloth, but it was worth every minute invested in this big screen of 145 inches because I had fun, and I humbly believe that it turned out very well, and they will enjoy the rigorous test. Now I can test any projector with better quality, precision and rigor. So what brands in the world let their projectors come to me? From now on, friends, we will have better projector reviews and with better quality and projection. And this week I will inaugurate my little screen with the new Wombo Quattro, the first projector in the Wombo series with electronic autofocus, and that you should not miss. Thank you very much for being here. Always there, my friends. I hope you liked and entertained this video. Give me the comments what you think of the modification of the projector or personalized screen, but above all give me your like, it helps me a lot. And it's because of your like, work on these videos, help me, and let's democratize technology. Until the next video.